Hey there and welcome to Scandal Steep. For nearly 2 decades, the family of John Whitehead has been searching for answers, seeking justice for his tragic and untimely death. They refuse to give up hope, believing that one day, the truth will come to light and the person responsible for his murder will finally be held accountable. John Whitehead, a celebrated songwriter and musician, was best known for penning some of the most influential songs of his time. Over the course of his career, he wrote around 50 songs for various artists, including the legendary Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, the O'Jays, and Teddy Pendergrass. His contributions to the Philadelphia soul movement were invaluable, and his music continues to resonate with fans worldwide. However, despite his success in the industry, Whitehead's life was cut short in a brutal and shocking manner. His most famous song, Ain't No Stopping Us Now, became an anthem of perseverance and resilience. Released in 1979, the song inspired countless individuals to push through adversity and fight for a better future. Yet, despite the song's uplifting message, the lives of its creators, John Whitehead and his longtime collaborator Gene McFadden, ended in tragedy. On May 11, 2004, 55-year-old John Whitehead was working on his car outside his home in Philadelphia when he was ambushed by unknown gunmen. Witnesses reported seeing 3 armed individuals approach him. Without warning, they opened fire, shooting Whitehead multiple times in the head and chest in what appeared to be an execution-style killing. His attackers fled the scene, vanishing without a trace. News of Whitehead's murder sent shockwaves through the music industry. How could a man who had written such powerful songs about strength and hope be gunned down so mercilessly? His family, friends, and fans were left heartbroken, struggling to understand why someone would want to kill him. In the aftermath of his murder, numerous theories emerged regarding the motive behind the crime. One prevailing theory suggested that Whitehead may have been targeted due to financial disputes within the music industry. Some speculated that he owed money or had become entangled in a business deal gone wrong. Others believed that he had unknowingly made enemies, possibly becoming the target of a warning meant for someone else. Another theory proposed that his murder was simply a case of mistaken identity, an unfortunate consequence of Philadelphia's high crime rate at the time. Despite an extensive police investigation, no arrests were ever made, and no suspects were identified. The case quickly went cold, leaving Whitehead's family and friends desperate for answers. To this day, his murder remains unsolved, a lingering mystery in the history of Philadelphia's music scene. But the tragedy did not end with Whitehead's death. His longtime friend and collaborator, Gene McFadden, never fully recovered from the loss. The two had shared more than just a professional partnership. They were like brothers. For decades, they had written and performed music together, crafting a legacy within the Philadelphia soul movement. The sudden and violent loss of Whitehead devastated McFadden, and those close to him noticed a dramatic change. He became withdrawn, his once vibrant personality dulled by sorrow and grief. Less than 2 years later, on January 27, 2006, tragedy struck once again. Gene McFadden passed away at the age of 56 after a battle with lung and liver cancer. While his death was due to illness rather than violence, many believe that the emotional toll of losing Whitehead contributed to his decline. Studies have shown that intense grief can have profound physical effects on the body, weakening the immune system and making individuals more vulnerable to disease. McFadden's death felt like an extension of the pain that began when Whitehead was murdered. Their song, Ain't No Stopping Us Now, took on a bittersweet meaning after their deaths. What was once a powerful anthem of triumph and success became a haunting reminder of 2 men whose lives were cut tragically short. Their legacy in the music world remains, but the circumstances of their deaths leave behind lingering questions and a sense of injustice. McFadden and Whitehead's story is not unique in the music industry. Throughout history, many legendary artists have met mysterious or tragic ends, their deaths shrouded in unanswered questions. One such example is Sam Cooke, a soul music icon whose death remains a subject of controversy. On December 11, 1964, Cooke was fatally shot at a Los Angeles motel under dubious circumstances. Official reports stated that he was shot by the motel manager in self-defense after an altercation. However, many details of the case didn't add up. Cooke's clothes were found in disarray, and the woman he had allegedly been searching for disappeared after the incident. To this day, many believe Cook's death was not as straightforward as it seemed, with speculation that he was targeted due to his influence in the music industry and his involvement in the civil rights movement. Similarly, Marvin Gaye's death in 1984 remains one of the most heartbreaking tragedies in music history. The legendary singer, known for hits like What's Going On and Sexual Healing, was shot and killed by his own father following a heated argument. Marvin Gaye's relationship with his father had always been troubled, and his later years were marked by drug abuse and personal struggles. His death, occurring just one day before his 45th birthday, shocked the world and left fans mourning the loss of one of the greatest voices in R&B history. Another tragic loss was Jesse Belvin, a rising star in R&B who co-wrote the classic Earth Angel. Belvin's career was on the brink of mainstream success when he died in a car crash in 1960. The circumstances surrounding his death raised suspicion, as reports suggested that his tires had been tampered with. Given the racial tensions of the time and the fact that he had just performed at a controversial integrated concert in Arkansas, many believed that his death was not accidental. Paul Williams, a founding member of the Temptations, also met a tragic and mysterious end. In 1973, he was found dead in an alleyway in Detroit with a gunshot wound to the head. His death was ruled a suicide, but inconsistencies in the case such as the absence of fingerprints on the weapon led many to believe that foul play was involved. The deaths of McFadden and Whitehead, while different from those of other music legends, share a common theme: talented musicians taken too soon under circumstances that raise more questions than answers. Whether through violence, suspicious accidents, or personal struggles, their stories highlight the darker side of the music industry and the heavy price of fame. John Whitehead's murder remains an unsolved mystery, and his family continues to seek justice. The lack of closure leaves an unsettling feeling, as if there is more to the story that remains hidden. Meanwhile, Gene McFadden's passing, though due to illness, feels deeply connected to the heartbreak and loss of his closest friend. Before they were famous, McFadden and Whitehead were simply two young men from Philadelphia with a passion for music. They got their start in the 1960s as part of a vocal group called the Epsilons, catching the attention of Otis Redding, who took them on tour. After Redding's tragic death in a plane crash in 1967, the duo shifted their focus to songwriting, eventually becoming key figures in the Philadelphia soul movement. Their contributions to the genre were immense, writing hits for artists like the O'Jays and Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. Despite the success of Ain't No Stopping Us Now, they struggled to replicate its impact and eventually faded from the spotlight. Tragically, just as they seemed poised for a career resurgence, fate intervened in the most devastating way. Whitehead's murder and McFadden's subsequent death left a void in the music industry and in the hearts of those who knew them. Their song may have declared that nothing could stop them, but in the end, tragedy did. Their legacies live on through their music, but their untimely deaths remain a chilling reminder of the unpredictability of life and the mysteries that sometimes go unsolved.